Okay, we're going to be going through Module 18, starting with Section 3, which is the quadratic formula. Okay, the first thing you need to know is when you're working with quadratic formula, you have to have it in the right format. You have to have x squared first with a number in front. Could be 1, could be any number. Then your x term has to be next with a number, then your constant, then equals, and then 0. If you have it in that form, x has to equal negative b, b being this whole middle term, the sign and the number, plus or minus the square root of whatever this whole middle term is, squared minus 4, the first coefficient, the constant divided by 2, and the leading coefficient. Okay, in example, 3x squared equals 8x minus 4. This isn't the correct order. I need my x squared, then my x, then my constant, then equal, then 0. So I need to move my 8x over and add 4. So it has to be 3x squared, subtract 8x, and add 4. Now I can identify my a is 3, my b is negative 8, and my c is positive 4. I just put those in. Negative, and then my b, which is negative 8, plus or minus my b, negative 8 squared, minus 4, my a, which is 3, my c, which is 4, 2, and my a, which is 3. It's just plugging the numbers in. Then I do some calculations. 2 negatives make a positive. 8 squared is 64. 4 times 3 times 4 is 48. And 2 times 3 is 6. I can simplify this. 64 minus 48 is 16. Now I can take the square root of 16. It is 4. So I get 8 plus 4 divided by 6. And I also get 8 minus 4 divided by 6. Again, you have a plus and a minus, so you get two different parts. This one simplifies into 12 divided by 6, which is 2. This one simplifies into 4 divided by 6, which reduces to 2/3. Okay, suppose you have this one, we need to rearrange it. Take the 18 over, subtract 18 gives you 20 negative, and subtract 1 gives you 12. So it's 5x squared minus 20x plus 12. Again, I just moved everything to get 0. Okay, now I find my a is 5, b is negative 20, and c is 12. So I put those in. Negative, negative 20, negative 20 squared, 4, 5, 12, 2, and 5. I just take them right off here, put them in the right place. Now 20 squared and 4 times 5 times 12, I work that out on the calculator. 200 minus 240, it comes out to be 160. 160 is 16 times 10. Now I can take the square root of 16 and move it out in front. So the square root of 16 is 4, and the 10 will stay in. So I have 20 plus or minus the square root of, again, 16 comes out as a 4, square root of 10 over 10. Now these front numbers are all even, so I can divide by 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10, plus or minus 2, because 4 divided by 2, and 10 divided by 2. We leave the inside alone because it's inside a square root. Now when you're typing this in your answer, make sure if it says positive, only keep the positive. If it says type ordered pair, you're going to type 10 plus 2 square roots of 10 over 5, comma 10 minus 2 square roots of 10 over 5. It's going to be two separate numbers separated by a comma, one with a plus and one with a minus. It may say decimals. You would type this in your calculator, get a decimal. Be careful to make sure you type 3 decimals if it wants 3 decimals, or 2 decimals. If it wants exact, this is exact. And then if it wants decimals, you can use decimals. Make sure you read the problem. So the solution set would be like this. Okay, suppose we want ax squared plus bx plus c, and they give you two binomials to multiply. You multiply x times x, x times 9, 11 times x, and 11 times 9. So it's x gives you x squared, 9x minus 11x, and 9 times 11 is 99. We can put these middle ones together. So it's x squared minus 2x minus 99. And then my a is the number in front of x squared, so a is 1. b is the middle coefficient, that's negative 2. and c is my last constant, negative 99. Okay, the sum of 5, so it's and twice a number, so it's 5 plus 2x, is subtracted from, so my 5 plus 2x is the sum of 5 and twice a number. I put that in parentheses. I'm subtracting it from, so it's going to be minus, subtracted from the square of a number is 2. Okay, distribute the negative to the 5 and the negative to the 2x. So it's x squared minus 5 minus 2x. Move the 2 over, so it's minus 2. Then rearrange it, so it's x squared minus 2x minus 7. Okay, my ABC. So it's negative, negative 2 plus or minus the middle term, negative 2 squared. 4 times 1, there's a 1 in front of x squared. C is negative 7 over 2 times 1. I clean that up. That's 2 in the front. This is 4 plus 28, which makes 32. Okay, 32 is 16 times 2. So I can take out the 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So it's 2 plus or minus square root of 4 divided by 2. And then since all these are even, 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 4 divided by 2 should be 2. Okay, got that corrected. So it's 1 plus or minus 2 square roots of 2. Okay, the last one we're working with is to solve x minus 4 divided by 5 squared equals 100. You will see one of these on the post-test probably, so make sure you just review this. First of all, you move the square by taking a square root. If you square root this, you get x minus 4 divided by 5. The square root of 100, there are two of them, positive 10 and negative 10. So x minus 4 divided by 5 equals 10. X minus 4 divided by 5 equals negative 10. Multiply by 5, so you get x minus 4 is equal to 50. X minus 4 equals negative 50. I'm going to add 4. X is 54. Add 4. X is negative 46. Now, take these notes, work with them, and take the test. Take it at least once, possibly twice. I wouldn't take it more than twice. Just go ahead and move on if you've taken it twice, and then come back to it later if you need to. So go ahead and take the test now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. And you can start at this point. We're going to move on to section 9. But again, take that test, and then come back to the video. Section 9 is quadratic functions. Tell the direction. Okay, the direction is given by this minus and looking at x squared. Okay, x squared either opens up or down. And there's a negative in front, which means it's going to open down. Okay, there's a decimal in front. Decimals make parabolas, which are U-shaped. X squared is a U-shape. Decimals make it wider. Whole numbers like 2, 3, 4 make it narrower. So the decimal makes it wider. Okay, if I give you a point, find the equation. Okay, there's a general equation for a parabola, y equals ax squared. I'm just going to put in my point. X is 140, y is 2. So I get 2 equals a 140 squared. 140 squared is 19,600. I'm going to divide, and I get 2 over 19,600, which is 1 over 9,800. That's a. So my equation is going to be y equals, okay, my a, 1 over 9,800, x squared. Okay, find the vertex. To find the vertex, I use negative b divided by 2a. My b is right here, negative 4. So it's negative, just find your ABC. Negative, negative 4. Make sure it's negative, then write the b, 2, then write the a. So it's negative, negative 4, which is 4 divided by negative 2, which makes negative 2. Now to find the second number, we take this negative 2 and we put it in for x squared, both places. X squared and x. Now put it in the original, so you get negative 2 squared minus 4, negative 2 plus 6. I just simply put it in right here. And when you do, this is negative 4 plus 8 plus 6, which makes 10. So now I have my point, Negative 2 is my x value, and my y value is 10. So my vertex is negative 2, 10. Okay, if we have a graph, you can do the same thing we did before, or you can look at the graph. Parabolas usually start at 0. We're going to go right 3 and down 2 to get to the vertex. I normally start at 0. I go 1, 2, 3 right, 2 down. So you get y equals, in the x direction I went right 3, and then I went down 2. So I just write y equals, now right happens to be minus, left happens to be plus. That's just how it works. You do the opposite of what's here, so right would be minus. So it's x minus 3, and then down is minus 2. Okay, now take these notes, look at them, use them, and take the test. Again, take it probably twice if you need to. If you find after 2 times you still haven't passed it, I would move on to the next section. Don't do the test more than twice. Move on to the next section, then we'll come back. Make sure you can come back in class and work on it. And we'll work you then. Okay, the last section is Module 18. Section 10, rather, of Module 18. Quadratic functions. Find the vertex of x squared minus 5. Okay, there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can put it in the form of the transformations, which was the last one we did. Just put it in parentheses, x minus 0 squared minus 5. Now it's in the format where the opposite of this number and that number give you your vertex. So we take the opposite of whatever's next to x and then the outside number. So our vertex is 0, because that's what's next to x, and negative 5. Now, that only works whenever you have no x value, nothing next to x. If there's a 2 or 3 or 4 here, you plug it in right there. Okay, some helpful information you'll need from graphing. They may give you an equation and they ask you to look at a graph. Okay, if they do that, if it says x squared, it's going to open up and it's going to be U-shaped. So if you look at the graphs, the correct one, if it's just x squared, is going to be U-shaped going up. If it's negative x squared, it's going to be U-shaped, except it's going down. So if you'll, again, take notes on this and write it down, negative x squared opens down, so if it says negative x squared plus something or minus something, you'll know it's going to have to go down, and that'll target which answer it is. Y squared is going to go to the right. So if you have y term is squared, it goes right. Negative y term is squared, it goes to the left. So that's some information that'll help you when you're graphing. If your parabola, if your square thing is an x and it has a plus in front of it, it goes up. If it's an x, has a minus, it opens down. If it's a y that has the square part, it goes to the right. If it's a negative y, it goes to the left. Okay, finding vertex. Okay, there's a minus right here, and it has a y that's squared. Well, a minus y, that's going to go to the left. Okay, that's the stuff we just looked at. So if they give you a graph, you know it's going to be opening to the left. Now, the vertex comes from this number opposite and this number out here copy. Now, this is a y number, so the negative 2 is going to be in the y value. The plus 5 is going to be the x value. So the vertex is 5 and negative 2. Okay, they're going to give you a question like this. Possibly they'd ask you a bunch of information from a graph. What's the height in 1 second? Go to 1 second, look up. It's 25. Height at the start. Well, here's where we started, and we are at 0. Maximum height, the tallest it gets, 45. Time in 25 meters. Well, let's see. 25 meters happened right here at 1 second. Happened again at 5 seconds. So 1 in 5 seconds. Okay, if they give you a graph and they may ask for the vertex, the axis, domain, and range. Okay, the vertex is the low point right here. So you just count to get there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's 2, negative 3. The axis goes right down the middle. So there's our axis. X equals 1, 2. Domain is going sideways. This graph goes to the right and it goes to the left. So if we're starting over here, there's a graph. It just happens to be going up high. So this is a graph on the left side, which is negative infinity. There's a graph on the right side, which is positive infinity. So that's your domain. We put parentheses around those, negative infinity, positive infinity. Okay, the range is up and down. There's no graph below negative 3, so it goes from negative 3 upward to infinity. Negative 3 gets a bracket because it's a colored in dot, comma, infinity. Now, take this information, use it while you're taking your test. Again, I would take the test a couple of times, but don't keep repeating it 4 or 5 times. Just take it twice and then move on, try something else. Hope this helps out.